Well, all of a sudden, I didn't feel like it was me anymore. The fear of not being able to remember people's names, or not being able to follow a line of a conversation.
I'm 71. I've been diagnosed for 8 years, but I believe that I had it probably a couple years before that. I was a bookkeeper, actually a pretty good one, and I found that I was getting to the point where I was having trouble remembering what to do. So I went to the doctor to find out what was going on.
I was 53 or something like that, so fairly young. Was going to a doctor close to our home, and he had a person there who was analyzing people's cognitive abilities and memories and memory stuff and that sort of thing. And I was weak on the memory stuff. To me, at that point, didn't seem to be a big deal because I was functioning fine otherwise.
It was pretty shocking. I had a little bit of a cry, and then I went, okay, now what do we do? How can I make my life as best as I can? I wanted to find out what was going to happen. I immediately contacted the Alzheimer Society, and it's amazing what they can do to help you. I get a lot of emotional support. They're so kind and they understand, and if you got to have a little cry, it's no big deal. I have phoned on the odd time. When I first was diagnosed, I did way more because everything was new. Is this normal or is it not normal, or what can I do about this?
We went to the Minds and Motions thing because it's got the exercise component and games that we play over the computer. Some of it is set up to draw people out about what they did in their past, or what they're excited about now. It's kind of a fun group as well. People, are happy to get together and blab because they're perhaps, not connected in or something.
Me and my husband took a class, and boy, that was an eye-opener. He didn't realize how impatient he was getting with me, and they really talked about being patient and knowing that your spouse is going to get slower and slower at doing things. He learned why I can't do what I used to be able to do, and that was such a relief. I used to do cross stitch. My last one I was working on was a beautiful cute cougar. I would mark where I was, every square I'd color, but I got to the point where I couldn't remember if I colored it or not, so I didn't know where I was. So a good friend of mine finished the cougar for me.
I don't recall any problems. What do you think, Jan?
Well, everything's different.
Yeah.
You can't cook, and can't do sort of handyman stuff anymore. Just, it's a completely different scenario, I guess. I don't know what to say about that. You're not talking about it, but you know that you're forgetful about a lot of things, or can't do a lot of things you used to do.
One of the biggest challenges is I can't drive anymore. I decided on my own. I said to myself, my life has got a little smaller, so I'm going to have to not drive anymore.
knew my way to that place, no problem. But the snowstorm, I couldn't figure out where the roads were. It was that heavy. And I ended up driving up some concession road someplace, and anyway, so when I told this doctor what had happened, she said, "Give me your license," which pissed me off big time. Still pissed about it. I've been driving things since I was a kid, and it was just a real, well, I'm sure everybody who's gone through this has gone through this same kind of thing. I mean, you know, having their license taken away because of this. So
I would explain to somebody that has just been diagnosed to go to the Alzheimer Society, ask them about their classes. They've got all the resources, so that's been very, very helpful for me and my husband. I have taken pamphlets. I really like reading them because there's a lot of information on them, and I keep them on hand because people ask me about different things. They've encouraged a lot of things like exercising and eating well. I do a lot of walking.
I can go for walks and not get lost and stuff like that. And I have a tracker as well, just in case something comes up that I turn the wrong way or something like that. Play badminton and with my son and with my good friend, my best friend. It's nice to know that there's other people who are going through the same thing. There's some camaraderie there.
I go to a support group once a month, and we all sit there and chat one at a time about, you know, what works for us, and we try to help each other with little tips and tricks. I tell people to use timers. In the wintertime, I put the timer on so that it reminds me my dog's outside.
I'm trying to stay active and you know, going to the senior center and doing some drawing and stuff. We enjoy watching TV and hockey and going out for dinner. We go dog walking down at Laurier Park. That's always grounding and fun.
My hobbies are what I think has saved me. I quilt pretty much every day, and I also do knitting. I started that a couple years ago. I belong to a knitting group that helped me learn how to knit, and I really, really enjoyed it. The Alzheimer Society has talked to us about letting other people know that you have the disease, because trust me, it's a lot easier if people know why you can't find your words, or why maybe you didn't go to a social event.
Well, like the guy I play tennis with, you know, he's been really good. He's known all along from probably listening to me talk. He comes to pick me up, and we go up to Service Place here, and we can visit and talk while we're playing.
It doesn't bother me to talk about Alzheimer's or dementia with anybody, so I don't feel inferior because I have it. It's just, it's a disease, and I have learned to live with it, and willing to help anybody that needs help that's in the same situation. I really like it when my husband goes to the support group. I think it's just been a world of difference in our life. They can talk amongst each other and get information. The Alzheimer's give them a lot of information on how to cope.
Those kinds of strategies are presumably helpful to understand what's happening. And because it's progressive, I guess there's, you know, new things on the horizon, no doubt. It might be good to know more about what, you know, the next steps are likely to be, or the transitions that are likely to be. But still want to be as active as possible.
I'm prepared for the next stages. I know things are going to fall through the cracks, and I know I'm probably going to end up in a home, but my mom had dementia. She ended up in a home, and she was happy, and I plan on being happy too. I live life to the fullest. I don't feel sorry for myself at all. I make every day as positive as I possibly can. I enjoy my life. Yes, I am more than my disease.